Okay, darlings, lovely, lovely. So I hope you're all ready to discuss the revamp.
I mean,
Who are you even?
Yeah.
I'm the marketing executive. Ready for the whole revamp. What?
Jane, did you invite?
Did not invite anyone.
No. Okay, well let's just try and get.
Perfectly happy with the formula.
Let's just try and get through this, I guess.
Okay.
So what did you have in mind?
Well, I think we need to start top to bottom. Okay, so I was thinking maybe we'll start with the title.
What about the title?
Well, it's not exactly marketing friendly. There's a lot of countries that you're just, not going to be able to sell in as easily. So, what if you just change the whole title?
Right, to what?
Well, first of all you have, obviously we'll start with the biggie, strangers. You don't have to be strangers, you could be friends. Just friends, friends who you know. People who you are familiar with and you have a familiarity. There's like 216 episodes now, It's
but that's assuming a lot that every listener is someone who's listened before. We'd like to assume that we're welcoming the potential new people.
We've all. The point is, it doesn't matter if we don't know you personally. You're welcome here, and we have a nice time together. Okay, but then there's the whole, pleasant's good, pleasant friends. You could just be pleasant friends.
I'm glad you don't want us to not be pleasant.
Well, it's very important, for marketing to be approachable, and, you've got that a bit nailed down. So, okay, so the new title is The Pleasant Friends.
I feel like there's at least one word you've quietly not removed and not addressed.
I don't know what you mean. Anyway, then skits. Skits are so last year, but some silly voices, you're just doing at each other. There's just the two of you, and you sit here and you do maybe 3 or 4 voices. Sometimes more than that even. And, that's, sometimes it gets a bit meta, it's just not a good thing,
I have my thoughts as to what's not a good thing.
What's not a good thing?
The revamp executive.
Yeah, I don't like the revamp executive
No.
either.
We've just thought of a revamp that might be very beneficial to this meeting, actually.
Exactly. Oh, I'm happy to bounce some ideas. Get some yeet.
That was an aggressive yeet. Wow, they're still going.
They are still going. Looks like the marketing executive's blasting off again. Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Magnet-Dale.
And I'm not Jane Eris Magnet-Dale, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's a podcast, 2 queer trans women, we have a bit of a catch-up about the media we've consumed in the week. And
do silly voices and skits.
Yeah.
We talk about how we're queer and trans.
Indeed, that's the thing what we do.
And that welcoming to strangers.
Indeed. If we don't have to be friends with everyone, parasocial relationships and all that, you can have a nice time with strangers.
You don't have to know each other. You can just be pleasant with each other and treat everyone with respect, apart from marketing executives.
Exactly.
I guess.
Marketing executives can go into the sun.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that sort of ding is when they go blasting off again. It's them literally going into the sun.
Absolutely.
Burning up in the atmosphere.
Bye.
So what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing well. Shock of shocks. I started replaying Breath of the Wild.
Yeah? How's that going?
I suspect there may have been more to my, I don't think I need to play this again for a while immediately after finishing it.
Yeah?
Than just, yes, I have explored the world and experienced the world and it was good and a thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, God, it's so frustrating. Especially at the beginning.
I think that there's a couple of things that have made that a difficult game for me to go back to.
Mm-hmm.
One is, because it is such a big journey where you grow so much as a character, I always think of what that game feels like to play based on the late game experience.
Yes.
And to go back to the starting game experience and to go, oh god, I've fallen so far and I have so far to claw back up, feels like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing for me has always been that, like, so much of that game's charm was the exploration of the unknown.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of that is lost on replay.
Yeah, but also I have a shit memory, so like
Yay!
the things I found quite helpful for doing that are one thing is something I didn't even learn, and in fact, actually both of these are things I did not learn until I was mopping up the last few shrines in my original run through. And the first one is shrines tend to be quite close to roads a lot of the time.
Yes.
And I spent so much of my first run through just going, oh, I'm going that way. I'll just I'll walk to the nearest tower and then I'll cut across country.
I mean,
I barely touched the roads.
the shrines tend to be in places that they expect will be through points between common destinations, and that's why a lot of them end up near roads. But, like, yeah, that can be a thing.
The other thing is there is a shrine near every stables.
Yes, there is.
And there were several in when I was going through my mop-up, because it was like, I've done pretty much everything. There's like 6 or 7 shrines I just cannot for the life of me find.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I know where they are on the map, but I cannot work out how to get to them.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been everywhere. One of them being that one that's underneath a mountain. There's that huge cave under a mountain.
Yes.
Then,
the one that's 2 halves of one puzzle, is it?
No. That's the one that's split across the 2 halves of the mountain.
Yeah.
In fact, that was the first set of dungeons I did in this.
Okay.
Well, obviously, once I'd got off the great
Yeah.
plateau. I did those straight away. I was like, yeah, wow, I didn't even realise how close these were to my starting point, but I spotted them quickly and dealt with them.
That is the thing I like about this game, that, like, on a replay, you can have such a different experience of, oh yeah, I didn't realise this was so near the start, because this isn't the way I went when I played it before.
Yeah, I mean, the things I have sort of remembered are, I'm sure there is a route out of Kakariko Village where I will find Hestu.
Yep.
Which I desperately wanted to do because I was already getting pissed off at the fact that I did not have enough space to carry more than a few weapons. Like, I don't mind the weapon durability in that game. I quite like the whole, hey, try something new.
Yeah.
Every 5 minutes, try something new.
I like it as long as I have enough space to have lots of things in my bag, so I've always got something to try.
And a bit of variety, because, like, you always want to have a torch.
Yep.
You always want to have a leaf.
A sledgehammer.
A sledgehammer for rocks.
Yep.
And those things are just used for the specific tasks that they're for.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I quite like sledgehammers for combat. I like the charged up spin attack.
I do. I love them for that. But also, I would rather always have a rock hammer when I need one.
Yeah, that I if I can have 2 sledgehammers and one's for combat
if I've got
and
a
one's
spare,
for rocks.
if I've got a spare, absolutely. Like, one's definitely getting used. But at the beginning of the game, if you're like, you've got so little weapon space, and to go, 3 of these are already taken up with default things that I need.
Yeah.
Then there's the fact that you seem to be able to carry less bows than anything else.
Yes.
And the fact that you don't even really get that many arrows to start with.
Yep.
Like, a lot of my arrows have been retrieved from just kiting an enemy around.
I must say, I genuinely love that as a thing, though. I'm so glad that's a thing you can do. It feels so satisfying.
Like, just kite an enemy around, get them to shoot all their arrows at you, and just pick them all out of the ground.
Yeah.
Cool, thanks. I've had some fun with that. I've been picking up side quests. Weirdly, like, the first hat I picked up in the game was Tingle's hat. So for the longest time I was wandering around in the tattered shirt, the tattered trousers, and the Tingle hat.
Yay!
Which was just a weird little experience. Yeah, I've done like 22, I think, of the dungeons already, so I'm like a sixth of the way through the game. I'm not really sure which beast to go for to start with. I think the first time I went with the elephant, because I sort of just listed to the right from the starting position.
If I was to think about, like, right now, what would be the one I'd go for first, I feel like the bird one, because being able to shoot yourself up in the air is really helpful for if you're halfway up a mountain and it's about to start raining and you need a way to get up things in the rain. It can be a real frustration remover.
Yeah. And there's a few dungeons that it would help to just be able to get into that much easier.
Yeah.
Like, one of the early ones I found was the one that is covered in just covered in thorns.
Yes.
And the one shortly after that was the don't touch the flowers one.
It gets you around a lot of progression blockers, and it's a good way of getting around some stamina progression blocks early on.
Yeah, but like I took 1 heart and I've been pumping the rest slowly into stamina.
Yeah.
I'm going to get 2 wheels and then I'm going to start going for health so that I can start heading to the Lost Woods.
Oh, yes.
To get the Master Sword, and I guess I can, in theory, start straight away doing the Master charge-up things, because I don't think you need to have completed much of the game beyond get the Master Sword to do it. Because I did it like... I got all that DLC stuff after the main game, so...
I was the same, so I've not tried to do any of that stuff mid-story at all. I don't know if that is doable.
The only thing I haven't found from my first playthrough is the Nintendo shirt, which is weird, because I never found the Nintendo shirt on the first playthrough either.
Yeah. The Nintendo shirt, I think, is in a chest... You know, the very first...
I know the first 3 dungeons each have... like an EX chest next to them.
Yeah, I thought it was in the one near the very first shrine that you're taken over to. There was a chest in the water there?
I think I probably need to go back to that area. Yeah. I feel like maybe I didn't have the Magnesis rune when I needed it, and consequently just didn't. But I'm sort of enjoying it so far. I've made the effort to be like, I'm going to travel on the roads more. I'm going to bother taming horses.
You play it a little differently to how you did before.
A little bit more efficiently, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just going to, I'm going to scale that mountain because I want to go straight that way. And go, no, I'm going to look at my map. There's a road. Oh, I've passed some horses. I'm going to tame a horse.
Both can be fun in different ways.
They can, but I feel like a lot of my frustration in the mid-game of my first playthrough was because I was stubbornly going, I want to see what is over that hill. There might be something else. And it's like, there is something else, and it would probably be easier to get there another way. Like, even the huge mountain with the dragon corpse on the top is like, there is a path up it.
Yeah.
There is a sensible path to get up there, and I definitely, the first couple of times I tried to climb it, went up the, the sheerest possible side of it as doggedly as possible, just like eat the stamina meal.
But I like that you can do that you can just stubbornly brute force.
I absolutely love that you can, and like even now there are still I mean, you must get... I think everyone gets this with Breath of the Wild. Like, you'll do a puzzle and you'll just go, pretty sure that's not what they had in mind.
Yeah. My favourite one of those still is, you know, the sort of marble rolling maze shrine? Where you're
turning it upside down.
You can turn it upside down, or you can just sort of sharply tilt the board at a 45-degree angle as the ball falls, and just sort of bounce the ball off, like, to the side, away from the puzzle.
Yep.
Like, oh... I love it that it's consistent enough to do that, but sometimes, like, maybe I'll do the actual intention now.
My very favourite one of those was there's a mission where I think the design is such that you're supposed to swing the heavy spiked balls.
Yes.
And move through them carefully. And I was like, why don't I just wind them over the top of...
I remember you doing this.
Wind them over the top of the thing.
The chain's too short for them to get you.
Yeah. I was like, that's brilliant. I love that works.
That's
definitely not the intention.
I've never been aware of another person doing that, and it brought me such joy.
Just like, there's definitely not what you had in mind, but you've created a logically consistent system for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, Zelda Breath of the Wild is one of the few games that has physics so at its core that I haven't constantly, or at least reasonably regularly, found something that's just pinged off in a way it really shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, things ping off, and usually because you've used the stasis rune, and then, like, bashed it a bunch in a particular way, and then, like, jumped on top of it, and shield surfed, and, like, bomb surfed. Like, but that's not, like, Bethesda shit where things just ping off into the sky.
Exactly.
So well done, because I know there are problems with that physics system. People have pointed them out in very extensive videos, but of all the ones I've played with, like even Half-Life 2 pings.
I am so impressed to this day that they managed to make an open world of that size and scale with that consistent of a physics system with that many ways to break it, and that it's not more of a falling apart piece of shit game than it is.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like the kind of game that you should constantly be accidentally, you did a thing and it threw you off the map.
The fact that we've had a decade of fucking Skyrim releases and
Yeah.
that engine has never got any better.
Yeah.
Apart from graphically. Like, I think that says a lot about Nintendo's ethos, and I really hope they didn't crunch their developers to make that happen.
I really hope. That game got delayed enough times that I have hope that wasn't the case.
Yeah, but like that, I think they did a really good job with it, and for all my gripes, I am enjoying it.
Yay!
It's been nice to sort of have that as a little thing, and also like the fact that knowing that for the majority the dungeons are so short that you can just go, I've got 10 minutes, I'm gonna do a dungeon. And like, especially when I spend a lot of time having to listen to something and not needing my hands for anything else, just like, I'm just gonna play some sound around.
Yay!
And that was pretty cool. What have you played?
I've been playing a bunch of stuff because it's been E3 week, and we'll sort of get into that in a minute. But there's been a bunch of game demos available on Steam, either from like stuff that was announced during conferences, or also because Steam Next Fest has kicked off, which is just after E3. Steam is like, hey, here's a bunch of demos that we also have prepared for you for a lot of indie games. I've not had a huge amount of time to start playing things, but I've tried demos for like 5 different games today, so I thought maybe I'll talk about some of those. First one that I've been playing that seems really promising is for a music rhythm game called Melatonin. It's got a...
That's the sleepy one, right?
Yeah, that's the one that makes you sleepy. So it's got a beautiful pastel 2D animated art style to it. It's like gorgeously high frame rate animation. And it seems to be set in the dreams of just a guy who's fallen asleep on the sofa. And each of the little music rhythm minigames is themed around a different thing that presumably happened during his day that he's having dreams about. So there's one where it's food is being thrown at you in varying patterns and you're trying to catch it in your mouth and eat it as it gets to your mouth. There's one where items being put out on a shop and you're swiping a credit card in time with like how the items were put out on the shelf.
Okay.
And there's one where you're sort of hopping between apps, and depending on sort of how you're jumping, like how the character's jumping across these various phones, you sort of go in time with that.
Okay.
Each of them has like a little tutorial where it teaches you like the handful of little visual cues that will clue you into what kind of rhythm you're about to do. So like for the food one, for example, there's a flying pizza box in the tutorial and it's like, okay, if it's like does like some small hops towards you, it's about to do a quick fire, and like on the very next beat you got to be ready to eat it. If it fires up in a parabola, you'll finish the like 1, 2, 3, 4 and get it on the 1. And there'll be usually like 2 or 3 different things, and it's like, these are your visual cues. The rhythm will stay the same, but this is like where in the rhythm the food will get to you. Go in time with it. It is a fun, amusing, like it is pretty funny. It is very like lovingly made. It is a very pristine demo. It's the kind of demo where I'm like, yeah, you've got something really good on your hands here, huh? Had to tweak around a little bit with the timing offset, which is sometimes a thing with music rhythm games, depending on what platform you're playing on. But once I had that set, absolutely worth a go. It is one of the like more high quality demos I've played out of E3 week, and it's like there's a decent amount of game in here to get a proper try of. So yeah, if you like your sort of Elite Beat Agents style music rhythm games that are slightly silly scenarios happening on screen while you do a music rhythm, this seems like a really neat one of those that's very much worth keeping an eye on. Have you played anything else?
Well, we played some boarded games. We played some Monsters on Board.
We did, yeah.
Which I played solo previously, and we had a go through together. Tell everyone what you thought.
Yeah, so
I've kind of made my feelings known.
Yeah, so this is the one about drafting dice of varying kinds and trying to fill out your board in ways that will score you points later on, where you move your little...
basically you draft dice
Yeah.
in order to trigger certain powers to move your grunts through the various villages,
Yeah.
to move your minions around in order to take up space and make it more efficient as an engine. And you're generating spook juice.
It took me a second to get my head around what I needed to be doing, but like I really enjoy it. I think that you have more than enough information about your long-term goals for your specific player up front that it means that you have all the information you need to effectively draft from the start, and you have enough tools to course correct with should you need to get back on track if you've had to put something in a suboptimal place. I think that there is like a lot of tools to early on make a plan and on an individual turn not have to do too many choices about how to get there. It's not an overwhelming game by any means, despite the fact that you sort of need to be working towards the end of the game right from the start, but your steps are very clearly laid out along that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think this is a really neat game.
Yeah, it's for the most part it's very nicely made. It's a shame it doesn't all fit in the box properly, but I think the game itself is plenty of fun. I would like to try it and play high up player counts, but
I agree. I think there are certain bits of that game where it's like, yeah, that's balanced for more than two people. Like in 2-player, you can very effectively pick something from your car when you're drafting and know that there's a good chance that something else you need in there might make it back to you still, in a way that you probably can't in higher player counts. I'm curious to play more of it. It was pretty fun.
We also had a quick game of Spook Mana, which is the other game that came as part of that Kickstarter.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
So this is the one where you're like building rooms and trying to place party guests into the various rooms of varying colours.
Yep.
Very short, very simple game.
Like a half hour, including the teach.
At most, I think. It is a simple, quick, easy teach. Not an overwhelming scope, and you've got a nice small amount of... it's not an overwhelming amount of things to choose from at any given time. And it feels like a game where it's hard to mess up too badly and go too far off the good path. Another really fun little one. Both of those are like nice little games, those.
Yeah, absolutely. What else have you played?
I played a demo for a game called Angerfoot.
Okay.
This is a game from Devolver. If you watched the Devolver conference, this is the one where they were kicking a bunch of things. Kicking doors down, kicking enemies. Yes. It is a first-person game where you run through environments. It feels like Superhot if it was without the slow motion, in that you will die in one hit. Most things will die in one hit to your kick if you can get close enough to do a kick. You can get guns; they are weaker than your kick, so you can damage someone at a distance, but it's going to take multiple shots. You might as well just get in there and kick them. It is a fun game conceptually. The problem is that it is a very difficult game that I am not competent enough to play. It is a fun, silly little idea that has no checkpointing mid-levels and everything will kill you in one hit, and you are supposed to be melee kicking things because that's what does the most damage and that puts you in range of getting one hit killed.
Yeah.
And I'm not a talented enough video game player to... I know that this won't be a game for me. I had fun with the demo and went, this is a fun, silly idea. I'm never going to buy this game. Yeah. I would have a bad time.
I looked at this and thought, oh, it's 3D Pedro.
Yeah.
And having played through my friend Pedro, I know that I don't have the Twitch skills, to play it in the way that it looks that good in the trailer.
Yes. I would love to watch, like, high-level gameplay of this game. Yeah. I don't want to play this game.
Yeah, because I know I'm just going to be disappointed by the clumsiness of my own fingers.
Yeah.
It is there, and it looks interesting and pretty, and I hope I get to enjoy watching someone else do it. No Carrion 2! Come on, Devolver.
I gotta give them time. there's carrying out the whole wide world now. It takes time to develop the whole world as a place to murder things.
I guess so. What else has been played?
I played a demo for a game called Agent 64, Spies Never Die.
Spies Never Die?
Yeah, it's very clearly Nintendo 64 era GoldenEye first-person shooter, but with dual analog stick to play a little smoother.
Okay.
It is an incredibly good, faithful recreation of like feeling like GoldenEye but new game.
Right.
It plays really well. It looks how you remember GoldenEye looking rather than how GoldenEye actually looked.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those. The big problem I have with it is that the game or at least the level in the demo has nothing in the way of checkpointing.
Oh dear.
I got killed in the last room and got thrown right back to the start of the level and was like, I know this is somewhat faithful to what you are basing this on, but also I don't have time in my life for a game where I can lose 12, 15 minutes of time.
I'm not 16
on a
anymore.
death.
I don't have that much time in my life.
Yeah. And like I might come back and try it again at some point, but like losing that far into the level and getting thrown back to the start of the level was just, it didn't leave a good taste in my mouth. Not a good first impression, which is a shame because otherwise it makes a really good first impression, that game. You played anything else?
Oh, I played some Space Lines from the Far Out, which is available on Game Pass.
What is this?
Imagine Overcooked, but you are trying to run a passenger liner through space.
Uh-huh.
It is also a roguelike and an upgrade-based game.
Okay.
So you are given 400 space bucks, and you buy your first vessel.
Yeah.
You can choose the paint job, that's free. You can choose the logo. You can change the name of the company. Well, you can't change the name of the company. You can just hit random generate. And
Yeah.
I think I ended up with like Transgalactic Starways or something.
It had trans in it. Go.
That's basically my thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had little pink and blue uniforms. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be good. And like the tutorial's really thorough. It's like, okay, here are some things that will happen. Like, if you lose all the gravity, you're going to go and need to repair this thing. And you do that by picking this up and going here and doing this. This is, you've got like a certain amount of systems that you can power at a time. It's like, okay, cool, I can power the food generation things, or I can power up the toilet so that people can use it. Considering I bought a vessel specifically that would have a built-in toilet, the fact that I hadn't realised for most of my first flight that it wasn't powered so no one could use it. It didn't seem to particularly be a problem, but I guess if someone had started being like, I need the loo,
You'd have been...
it would have been a bit of a
You'd have
problem.
been in a bit of shit.
I would have been in a bit of shit. So you've got to like feed people, which is just a two-step process of get thing off cart, put thing on grill, give them the food. It's not a big problem. Then you've got stuff like, you might want to jump on the navigation system to see slightly far ahead of where you are. Ping anything that's a question mark.
Yeah.
Is that a fuel stop? Is that a public toilet? Or is that asteroids coming towards you? And then, like, you've got customers going, I'm bored, dance for me. Because I don't have any other form of entertainment. So it's like, dance, dancey dance, 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 dance. Are you happy now? Cool. I'm going to just swerve out the way of that asteroid. I'll be back in a sec. It's like, oh no, I turned off the steering controls because I needed something else working.
I thought of another joke about the toilet not being powered.
Come on.
If they'd have needed to use the toilet, they'd have been shit out of luck. Yay, I
That would
did
have
it.
pissed them off. Yeah, I got to a point it's just like, yeah, this needs to be played in multiplayer. This needs to be a fun multiplayer. Like, you can play it solo, but it needs to be like a fun, chaotic, oh my god, we got so many passengers and we need to dance for them and feed them.
I'm up for playing some with you at some
I
point.
immediately deleted it.
Okay.
If you want to play again, I will.
If you would like to play in a multiplayer, I'm up for it, but if you have no interest in returning to it, no worries. That's fair.
I got to a point where I was just like, it's fine.
That's fine. It doesn't sound like a thing I need to play.
No. Plus, we haven't played an awful lot of Overcooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I ended up picking up the Switch after all this time.
Yeah.
Went looking for that sale item that's not in that sale. What about you? Have you played anything else?
So, other demos I've played, there's a couple more that were worth talking about. There have been demos for this floating around for a while, but I played a demo for a game called Spirit Swap. This is cute pastel aesthetic witches doing a match 3 game to chill lo-fi beats to study to.
Okay.
There is a narrative plot going on. You are a witch. There is these little spirit things. They're not supposed to be in the city, but they've made it into the city walls. That's mysterious. What's going on there? Do match 3 to pair the spirits so that they'll go away. But also you're doing sort of match 3 battles with other people. But it's all to chill lo-fi beats to study to, and it's all very, like, colourful and visually nice, and it's got a good level of diversity to the character designs. The characters are well written, and their sort of interactions feel very... These feel like characters with chemistry, which is always really nice in something like this. Mechanically, it's a match 3 game. There's nothing particularly surprising here. It's a match 3. You can sometimes make a set of 4 in a square and use that to build up a meter to wipe some, like, the top half of the screen off. So, like, there are some special attacks and things you can do. But generally, it's a match 3 with a cute story about some queer energy witches. And I like a good match 3. I'm enjoying the characterization. Not a thing I ever thought I'd be going to a match 3 for, but it's a fun, cute little match 3 that I'm excited to see fully release. Are you playing anything else?
No, that's everything.
Last one I played that seemed really interesting, and it's got like a very lengthy demo, so you can get a good feel for it, is a game called Lost in Play. And the 3 games that jump to mind as... the 3 pieces of media that jump to mind as comparison points are Hilda, Gravity Falls, and Over the Garden Wall.
That's
and
great.
I want to sort of upfront what things I'm making comparisons on. So, this is a point-and-click adventure game, but a fairly simple, a mechanically simple one that is told with no actual words. There's no written or spoken words. It is gibberish language and
Like
visual prompts where like a speech bubble will come up and like a picture of what you're looking for will come up, and there'll be some intonation of the gibberish.
Like Simlish.
Yeah, little Simlish with intonation as you go on this sort of adventure. And you play a brother and sister pair who have a very sort of Dipper and Mabel from Gravity Falls sort of energy to them. You seem to have stumbled accidentally into this slightly spooky, sinister other world that has this little Gravity Falls. You've accidentally gone... this Over the Garden Wall, you've gone over the garden wall aspect. A lot of the creatures you encounter are very much like the kind of creatures you would meet in Hilda. Like, there's the gnomes reminded me very much of Hilda. There was some frogs with little hats on that reminded me of something that would be in Hilda, and you just have this wordless little point-and-click adventure going on. I like that any time that there are items that need combining, if you have all of the components in your inventory, they will auto-combine for you. And if you are trying to solve a puzzle and it needs multiple things combined, you will be shown a little silhouette of all of the things that you need so that you can go find those individual things and they'll combine and then use it as a single item to solve that problem.
Nice.
Which is really nice. It has some gorgeously fluid 2D animation. It is visually gorgeous. It seems like very child-friendly, light-hearted, very little in the way of language barrier. It's just a very wholesome, heartwarming time. Even at points where, like, there was a point toward the end of the demo where I was occasionally a little bit stuck trying to work out what to do, but all of the, you're always in, like, a very limited amount of space where all of the solutions you need are in that limited amount of space. So, like, the biggest area I had in the demo was a 3-screen area where I had a series of problems to fix and a series of things I could get a hold of to fix those problems. And I knew that the problems and solutions were all going to be on these 3 screens. Like, it wasn't like I was going to have to backtrack all the way back to the start of the game to find something I'd missed.
Yeah.
You get all of you have access to a certain amount of space, you get everything, you use everything, you move on. And it's really charming and really sweet, and I'm very, very enamored with it. I think you would find it very cute.
Yeah.
I think it's worth you checking out the demo for. I don't know where it goes from here, but, like, it was drawing on all the right comparisons that, like, I was feeling very optimistic about it.
Yeah.
I think that's most of what I've played this week.
Well,
Time for this.
Are you thinking about it? Stop. Before you make a decision you'll regret, listen to this vaguely worded advertisement. We've chosen many stock videos of people looking shocked or sitting holding letters and crying. Have you noticed how low the colour saturation is? Or that there's a blue filter over everything? Are you frightened yet? Our research shows that 7% of you are now in a very suggestible state. What if we suggest that there's some group who don't want you to know about what we're about to tell you? Allow us to introduce product. See how we've turned up the saturation now? We only have pictures of people smiling and hugging, surrounded by friends and family. That person could be your grandmother, or your friend from bingo, or maybe even you. Don't you want to feel safe and surrounded by loved ones and kindness? Only product can give that to you. Here's a quick flashback to the lonely grey scenes of the elderly to show you what happens to those who fail to buy product. Prove that you're better than them, or be left behind to rot with product. To advertise your product, buy our services today. Failure to buy our services will leave you like this. See how executives are having their nice things repossessed, and how a stereotypical communist is putting up partition walls in their mansion and turning it into housing for the homeless. You don't want that. You'd better buy our service. Do it now, or lose everything to the communists.
oh, right. I just need to pick up some thumbtacks and some taffy and a hot glue gun.
Oh, well, we'll just pop in over there then.
Yeah, we'll just pop in the bodega. Oh,
Oh,
there's
there's a little kitty.
There's kids.
Oh.
So many kitties.
Oh.
There's one on the ATM.
There's one in that. Oh, and one in that box as well.
Oh, look at the little one just peering out of the little crisp box.
Oh, there's one over the. Oh, there's one on the counter.
Oh, hello, a little business friend. Is this your little independently run business?
Oh, where's the owner?
Actually, we're a cooperative.
So, what have you put in your
Oh, I put so many E3 press conferences into my eyes. That's. I watched other things, but I watched.
E3 isn't real, it can't hurt you.
It's E3 isn't even a thing this year, and it still was a thing this year.
Think that you're real hard. You deserve better.
Here is what I remember from the week of video games. Just sort of crashing over my psyche. Wholesome Direct was great. I wish listed or downloaded demos for like 90% of the games in it. It had a real good like success rate of everything in here looks like my jam.
Mm-hmm.
Guerrilla Collective had some pretty good games to show off. Did not like that they opened with a really performative anti-mask vibe skit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when they came on with masks and made a whole show of, I think it's time we take these off. Isn't this so much better? It was like weirdly performative and like kind of Black Voices in Gaming, once again, really, really enjoyable. Like, they had some really lovely interviews in there. It's a shame about some of the tech issues that went on, but like, there was some really neat games shown off in there. Always worth checking out.
Mm-hmm.
IGN's E3 stream had 2 major sponsors. A gamer credit card that gives you achievements for spending money, which seems like a recipe for fucking poor spending decisions.
Yep.
And the US Army. So every time there was a US Army sponsor on, I just muted the stream and I played a fun game with Twitch chat, which was, what's your favourite US Army war crime?
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. Capcom had a stream. There's third-person mode for Resident Evil Village. which is great for me and my motion sickness. There's going to be some story DLC for that, which will be in third person as well.
Will it have the original tank controls?
I'm very curious. I really there's some lack of clarity as to whether the third person mode is only coming to a new version of the game being sold or some DLC, or if everyone's getting third person mode, which I really hope everyone is, because it's an accessibility feature for people who struggle with first person motion sickness. Microsoft's conference, Shovel Knight Silk Song is still alive. We still don't know when it's coming other than in the next 12 months.
Were people not sure if that was alive?
It hasn't been shown in any trailer or any announcement or anything in over a year.
Okay.
It's been just sort of off the radar for I think about 18 months. So that got a trailer. It still exists. It still doesn't have a release date. The Persona series is coming to Xbox, which people have been asking for ages, but main thing that's nice about that is it's the Royale version rather than the base version, because I'd assumed for a while that, like, if it eventually got ported off PlayStation, it was going to be the inferior version. Yeah. Kojima's working on a thing. He didn't say in the presentation what it was, but it leaked a week in advance, so we know he's working on a horror game that's basically him trying to make PT without the PT license.
Okay.
For Xbox, so that'll be fun. I'm sure there were other conferences I watched, and just my brain has.
I mean, we talked about Devolver already.
Oh yeah, Devolver. One of the better ones they've done in terms of like the skit being good and funny again.
Yes, it was definitely more engaging than last year's one. Last year's one was clever, from a cinematography point of view, but this year was like, okay, we've captured some of that like madcap silliness and going on a wild adventure.
Someone last year did a very impressive technical job, and there was a good joke at the end, but it didn't really land until the end. Whereas this was like one consistent good idea the whole way through, and it was pretty short. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, keep it short and snappy. Don't overstay your welcome. There were some fun games in there. I've downloaded a demo for Cult of the Lamb, which I want to try, which is that the
fun.
Lamb Cult one.
The way that trailer was put together was just beautiful.
Wonderful!
Like showing that, was it a goat friend just through the area, and like, hey friends, we're just digging a hole, wave, and as soon as they walk past, just throwing a body in the hole.
Yeah. As ever, E3 has become just a bloated, amorphous miasma of so many events that don't need to be separate events, all just sort of happening. Oh, the PC gaming show.
We had to deal with the Deadly Premonition 2 thing.
Oh god, yeah. I less said about that, the better. PC Gamer Show. It was 2 hours. It was 30 minutes longer than last year. It wasn't the worst PC Gamer Show they've ever done by any stretch of the imagination. They only did like 3 or 4 of those pace-killing developer interviews. It was still... It was fine until every time they stopped to do an interview, and it was like, oh god, I feel my soul leaving my body for a minute here. Okay, we got trailers again, cool. That's E3. That's E3. What you watched this week?
Well, we watched the first episode of Ms. Marvel.
Yes, we did.
So, this is the new series loosely based on the comic book series about a Pakistani Muslim who lives in Jersey and is basically the Squirrel Girl of Jersey.
Yeah.
She has powers kind of based on...
They've kind of adapted her comic power a
so
bit.
rather than being stretchy, as she is in the comics, she seems to be able to sort of make things out of crystal.
Project sort of crystal hologrammy large body parts.
Yeah, so she like stretched her hand out and did a catch of someone, but then it all sort of dissolved into gemstones that then vanished.
That is cheaper to animate than a realistic looking, my hand stretched and became big and now I'm wielding a large hand that looks connected to me. I think that would always have looked cartoony, and I think that would have been fine. I mean,
but maybe maybe in tests it just didn't look right.
I really feel like they went with this because they didn't think with the budget they had they were going to be able to make that look good. Like, that's the gut feeling I have.
Yeah, maybe they've just got like a particle engine for generating all the crystal things.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was funny. There was the scene where somebody got hit with a giant hammer, and we both just sat there going, "Oh no, I thought she was going to get saved."
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that whole scene's kind of funny.
Whoever directed, like, art directed this episode, get them on, like, some feature films for Marvel, because they had, like, a great sense of visual storytelling.
Like, there's a scene where Bruno and Kamala are having a text conversation, and bits of it are sort of popping up in the environment, like... Because, and as someone pointed out, it's like when you are texting someone while walking down the street, you're focusing kind of on two things at once, and maybe those things kind of bleed together.
I've seen pieces of media try and do that before, but never as seamlessly as this, where, like, the response will be in shot for like a second or two before I go, oh, there it is!
I feel like Scott Pilgrim even fell into the whole, like, just showing the text on screen thing.
Yeah.
And this was more like... respond with an emoji. But that emoji is actually just like a neon sign in the background.
Yeah.
That's doing a winky face. And then we had the outro, which was the Jersey graffiti murals, but it was all artwork from the comic books.
Yeah.
So it had all that vibrancy. There's so much colour in this show. Like, the colour palette for this show is just beautiful.
And the soundtrack's so good as well.
Yes.
And it's funny. It's got a bunch of heart, and it's funny, and the characters are well written, and it feels alive in a way that... this is night and day when you compare it to, like, oh yeah, the MCU TV shows also included Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Like, these don't fucking compare. These are in different leagues.
I mean, I think that these are the sort of Marvel things that I enjoy the most. Like, the irreverence of Deadpool while also being full of heart. Yeah. The Squirrel Girl just getting out of anything just by, like, kindly and empathetically having a chat with somebody, even if that person is here to literally eat your world. And then you've got Kamala, who is just like, I want to respect my parents, but also I am a woman who is of a certain age, and I want to have a bit of independence while also respecting... like, myself and my culture and my religious beliefs.
I must say, it's really nice that we've had two good examples this year alone of, like, major properties doing stories about the US and Canada growing up with parents who have, like, their own set of controlling beliefs that are based in ethnic background, and giving those stories space to be told. Mm-hmm. And, like, I'm glad that we're seeing some of those happen.
Yeah. I've seen white people stories for my entire life.
Exactly.
Let me learn about other people.
Yeah, tell me what other people's family experiences are like. And show me their struggles that are different from mine.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you mentioned Canada earlier. All I can think of now is my neighbour Toronto.
Yes.
Possible names for turning red.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, like, as you say, like, and fucking nerds on the internet will be very like, I can't relate to this at all. Fuck you! I want some things I can't relate to so that I can just maybe learn about some other people.
Maybe when I've learned about someone else's experience, I will then be able to relate to it because I'll have seen comparison things.
Maybe not even personally relate to it, but just go, hey, it's that thing. I recognise that.
I have a reference point for understanding and experience.
Yeah, and it's just funny and full of heart, and those are the Marvel stories I enjoy the most.
Also, the providing of food to a friend who had barely been in the house a few seconds is so much more hilarious than I bet it was. Like, when they wrote and recorded that scene, they couldn't have known how hilarious it would be the week it aired.
Yeah, because we've just had the whole, like, in Sweden they don't feed you thing.
Yeah, you will just sit alone in a room while they go have dinner, and here it's like, oh, you literally walked in the house, here's 6 tubs of food before you leave.
It's 6 tubs of food that couldn't possibly have just been knocked up in the last 30 seconds. It's like there was so much food. And I bet it was all delicious as well.
Yeah. This Marvel's real good.
Yeah, really enjoying it. Looking forward to more of that.
Yeah.
Don't give Disney money.
Exactly.
If Disney learns to be more responsible, I will have no problem going, there's a bunch of really good shows. But for now,
Yeah.
steal their shit.
Apparently, reportedly, that for the first time ever, they have actually put enough of a gay in an upcoming film that it's been banned in like 20 countries.
14 countries, Buzz Lightyear.
14? Yeah.
Because of a gay kiss.
I knew it was a reasonably decent number, but like, I'm like, okay, that's something. You could have done this much sooner, but
I saw
that's
this right
something.
before we came up because one of our
Yeah.
friends was commenting on a public thread about the fact
Yeah.
that this had been banned. And they were just like, hey, I'm queer as fuck, and I grew up watching straight people kissing all the
and
time.
I'm still queer as fuck.
Still queer as fuck. Don't assume just because someone saw Anne kiss that was not like their parents doing, that they are going to suddenly be something different. But they will know that's an option.
Exactly.
The number of small children you hear just going, that's an option.
That's the thing. Yeah.
There are different sorts of people in the world.
Yeah.
And that's good.
That is good.
Except Nazis. Fuck Nazis.
Fuck Nazis.
Yeah. Let's have more people of color. Let's have more queer stories. Let's have just we've had hundreds of years of white people stories. Can I just hear some not white people stories for 20 years or so, and then we'll just swap back and forth? How's that? Do you feel better? We'll integrate it better.
We're not going to swap back.
We're not going to swap back, so fuck you. We're going to tell all the black intersex stories from
We're
now
going to tell all of the diverse stories. You don't get to have the bland stories anymore.
Yeah.
They're done. We made
no
made
more
them all.
unseasoned stories. Yeah, because I grew up watching them, and I'm 42 years old, and why am I only now hearing, Muslim people on my timeline going, this show is for me. I see
Yay.
myself. Good. I'm so glad. I'm sorry it took this long for everyone to catch up, but I am fascinated too. Thank you
Yay.
for making this, people who made this, but also fuck Disney.
Indeed.
What else have you watched?
We watched a thing together. We watched Love, Death and Robots Season 3.
Yeah, we did.
It felt like there were a smaller number of short films in this season. But maybe it's been a while
See-
I've blended the first two seasons together.
I'm also confused about that because this felt like the right amount of series.
Yeah.
But also I still keep thinking I haven't seen series 2.
We definitely did.
Okay, well then we watched them all at once and I have no clue.
Maybe I'll double check what the season 2 episode descriptions are. I'm pretty sure we did. But, yeah, season 3 was really interesting.
Yes, some amazing... There were a couple of those, really photorealistic ones where I was struggling for at least a few scenes going, is this animated?
There's
It was usually until I saw a human face.
Yeah. There are some that I think leaned into that really well. Like there's the one with the bunch of knights at the river
Yes.
where the all of the scenery was perfect recreation of real world appearance. And while the character models were somewhat uncanny, they lent into that with it being a story that focused really heavily on beautiful but uncanny movement being a point of sort of unsettling beauty. That story in particular, I didn't clock on to one narrative thread until you pointed out to me, and then
because I was sort of going, oh, this is really fascinating, and blah, 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 and you just went, I don't get it. And it took us 2 minutes to even work out why you were having the problem you were with.
Yes, and I realise it's completely obvious, but also, sometimes artsy films are artsy in a way that, I just assumed it was doing an artsy thing.
And also, if you hadn't been looking at the screen at exact certain moments, you might not have clocked.
I think that was...
thing?
We were watching that one over breakfast, and I might have looked away to my plate and just missed the one moment where that was made clear, but that one was really good. It was beautiful and unsettling in equal measure.
Yeah.
And it lent into the uncanny really effectively. Any ones in particular you want to...
The first one, I did not expect to laugh so hard at the downfall of humanity as I did at the first
Yeah.
That's the 3 robots who we saw in the first episode of the first season.
Yeah.
I just love that whole vibe of those 3 just being like,
doing a tourist tour of the end of the world.
oh. They thought they were going to survive.
Yeah, I think in particular the billionaire island in the ocean.
The billionaire oil rig island.
Yeah.
The preppers, say, for people who were prepared, they were for calling themselves preppers, they weren't very prepared, were they?
For survivalists, they aren't very alive.
The AI hologram on the billionaire island. The twist ending.
Yeah.
Was just like, I love it. I laughed hysterically at that. There was the quiet, horrific beauty of suffocating to death on a foreign planet.
I really want to rewatch
while
that
possibly like tripping on painkillers.
It's either tripping on painkillers or having a religious experience,
Or
like a
both,
very powerful spiritual
simultaneously.
experience. I really want to rewatch that one.
Yeah.
That one fascinates me.
Yeah.
And now I know where it's going, I want to rewatch it with that in mind. It
Mm.
was gorgeous, that.
The art style of that, like we talked about it a lot of the time, was just like had a slightly rotoscoped feel to it.
Yeah.
There was something about especially like the way the light hit the textured fabric of like the upper sleeves.
Yeah. It felt almost like you had recorded live action motion capture data and then deliberately lowered the frame rate of it, so that the world was in like full frame rate, but there was a slight frame rate discrepancy of the character moving that gave it that almost stop motion or rotoscope 2D feel.
Yeah. There was the one with the very fast zombie invasion.
Oh,
Like it tells its story in like 5. It feels like it's like a 5-minute thing and everything's happening at double speed. And at first it's just like, oh, that's kind of funny and novel. And it also like feels like it's. Sometimes it feels like it's like actual shots of places, and sometimes it feels like tiny dioramas. And like the fact that the edges are quite blurred. I feel like there's a couple of video games that have captured that sort of. Is it Lumino City? The one where like they actually built all the sets and shot it, and then like animated all the stuff over the top of it. Like it's beautiful, but really silly, that story. That was fun. I think those are the ones that have remained in my head, and therefore won. These ones won because I still remember them. What about you? Have any other particular specials from that?
No, I think those are some of the good ones. The whole season was really fun. It continues to be a good show, well worth watching. And I remember nothing else that I watched because E3 drowned my brain.
Oh, that was probably most of it, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's everything. Well then,
Time for this.
Laura, got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, have you overloaded on the Not E3?
Oh, my brain is mush. It is a soup of video games. Every video game is the same video game. So many of them were Dead Space and Stardew Valley. There were so many Dead Spaces and so many Stardews.
Dead Space Valley when?
I'm surprised we didn't have a Dead Valley, a Stardew.
Stardew.
What Stardew?
What that Stardew?
Oh,
Hey baby, what that Stardew?
All the video games are one. There was a category that was just that's titties.
That's a titties.
Yeah, that was a category.
That one there is a
week.
titties.
That's a titties.
Okay, but Dead Space titties when?
There was at least one titties in one Dead Space, I'm pretty sure.
Dead Space Titty Crossing?
There's so many video games.
Well, you want to get rid of some of that?
I could deal with scraping some video games off the top. Just
Take these Game Away tablet. Usually there's some follow-up when I offer you pills. Not today, just going to dry swallow whatever that was. Luckily, it was Game Away. Have you overloaded on? I'm just going to read the copy and hope for the best. I usually read through the side effects together, but apparently not today.
You offered me a tablet, I trusted you.
Well, it was a good one then. Wow, our patented tablets will melt away the excessive, mediocre trailers from your short-term memory, leaving you feeling refreshed.
Oh, that is much better. That is, I have room for thoughts that aren't video games.
Right? Imagine that.
There's a world out there. Oh, trees, I forgot about those.
Yeah, they are, and they're well rendered.
Oh, hell yeah. Someone's done a good shade of pass on them.
Yeah, well done, whoever that was. G's to the G. So head on over to gameaway.lol.net and enter the code Q&PS216 and get yourself some tablets that, please, for the love of criminy, read the instructions before taking.
You are correct. Look, now I've had it. I do see you are correct, but I'd had so many video games this week. I just saw you holding a thing and I saw an interact prompt and was like, I guess that's how I progress this scene.
Press X to Game Away.
Yeah.
So, press X to Game Away at gameaway.lol.net. I guess that's their new thing now. Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi. So, we put out some gameplay footage of that big open world we're working on, and people are not happy.
But they wanted to see. They said they wanted to see what we were doing.
Yeah, they wanted to.
They said they wanted that new character, that old character back that they.
Yeah, they wanted the platforming character to that runs real fast to be in an open world. So we, apparently they don't like the fact that there's just random platforms floating in the air for no reason and big stretches of nothing to do.
But that's what the game's always been about.
Well, yeah, but they don't like it because it looks. Okay, look, they're not wrong that it looks a bit weird to do it that way. It was the easiest way. We didn't have to pay anyone to think about level design. So, I
mean, it's all just AI generated now, right?
Well, that's
it's
what
all
I
procedural.
Thought. Yeah. So I've been working on a very creative response that I think is going to shut all this down.
Right.
It may look janky, but when you're playing it, it's amazing.
Right.
You just say like, it only looks like it's a janky, weirdly thrown together asset store placeholder design.
Yeah.
Because you're only watching it. If you had the controller in your hands,
if you were the one,
you'd realize it's amazing, and that all of those what look like really cheap, lazy design decisions are actually genius.
Comes to life when you have it in your hand.
Exactly. Why would we make it look like this if it wasn't going to be the most fun thing in the world to play?
Yeah, come on, this is us. We have all the money, right? So therefore we must be making good games.
Ours looks nothing like other competing games, not because it's worse, but because it's better. No one has realized that this is the most fun way to play a video game.
Never imitated Supremacy Software.
Exactly. I reckon they'll buy that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You are a fucking genius.
I know. Does play like shit, though.
Oh, fuck yeah. So, what have you put in your ears?
I actually made time to listen to some music.
What?
Yeah, I listened to a little bit of music today that I hadn't listened to before. I did that. I listened to a track that I've listened to once, and I didn't go back to it, and I went and gave it another listen. The track is called Ronin by Ibaraki and Gerard Way.
Okay.
This is a track that Gerard Way did some guest vocals on. It's a sort of melodic speed metal in that sort of like Dragon Force-esque category of like your sort of fairly fast metal with that kind of musical style to it. Mm-hmm. That Gerard Way does black metal guest vocals on. Like incredibly heavy, deep growl, scream metal vocals on. It is not super my jam. Like, there is traditional vocals on there by the other person that isn't Gerard Way. But it's fascinating listening to, like, because this came out a little bit before the Foundations of Decay. And I listened to it once and went, yeah, and then didn't again. And listening to it now after having, like, really sat with Foundations of Decay, and being like, oh yeah, this came out, like, 2-3 weeks before at most, it really feels like Gerard Way is having fun with metal as a genre to play around in the space with. And I think if we are going to get more My Chemical Romance music, which it seems like is going to be the case as this tour goes on, I would probably expect there to be some kind of metal influences in there, because it sure seems like that's a thing that he's playing around with. And
I
trying
feel
to...
like Frank sits quite nicely in that area
Yeah.
as well, so...
But that's it, like, Frank's solo stuff is like very heavy, very aggressive. Jared's been playing around with sort of more growly, distorted vocals. I'm curious what that will form into.
Yeah.
I also listened to a track called The World Ends With You by a band I've mentioned a couple of times on here, Newgrounds Death Rugby. It's just a fun femme vocal melodic rock track that plays around nicely with pacing and timing. I don't have much to say about it other than go give it a listen. It's a really fun track. And I listened to one other thing. I listened to some Brian David Gilbert, who used to do stuff on Polygon.
Yes.
It did the Unravel, or was it Unraveled? I think it was called.
Yes.
Yeah, on Polygon.
And some of the board game stuff.
Yeah. He's made a series of covers of ABBA songs that are parodies with lyrics about Halloween-esque monsters.
Yeah.
It's called ABBA. ABBA. That I four of the five I really enjoyed. There's Lay All Your Love on Me, but it's about a vampire trying to find love. Lay all your... the chorus starts singing about lay all your blood on me. Gimme 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 is about grave robbing to find parts to build Frankenstein's monster.
Hell yeah.
Gimme 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 a man after midnight.
Damn right.
SOS is about Captain Hook really missing his hand that he used to have, which I really get the vibe he misses his wanking hand. And Money 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 is now Mummy Mummy Mummy. And it's the last track of the 5, and he breaks character during it, going, wait, am I supposed to be the mummy, or am I singing about the mummy? I've really lost track of my own fucking gag here. It's very clear this is, like, a stupid idea that, like, even by the end of song 5, he was like, this is really fucking stupid. It's fine, let's finish it. Shit. It is a fun, stupid little bit of time.
Excellent.
What about you? What have you listened to?
I have listened to 2 albums this week. Both of them by Skatune Network. The first album I listened to was called Scargo's Emo Volume 1. Featuring tracks I'm Not Okay, I Promise, First Date, Misery Business, Prom Queen, Buddy Holly, the Weezer track rather than actually Buddy Holly, Free at Last, In Too Deep, My Friends Over You, Basket Case, Constant Headache, Come Out Swinging, Flagpole Sitter by Harvey Danger, Never Meant and Damn It.
Yeah.
Good mix. There's a few tracks in there I go, that is not your best stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long ago this album was released. 2020.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot of it, but I've definitely heard them do better stuff, and it was really nice to hear ska versions of cool emo songs I enjoy.
Yeah.
The second album I listened to was by Skatune Network, and it's called Scargo's Emo Volume 2.
Yeah.
And it features the tracks Your Graduation, The Anthem, All the Small Things, Such Small Hands, Rose Coloured Boy, For Sure, Plane vs. Tank vs. Submarine, Morbid Stuff, The Middle, Head in the Ceiling Fan, 2 Beers In, Mr. Brightside, If It Means a Lot to You, January the 10th, 2014, and I Write Sins Not Tragedies.
Ooh. Nice.
Strong finish there.
Yeah.
It's a good pair of albums to listen to. They're both available on Bandcamp at Name Your Price. So name your price if that's what you want to do. It was nice to just jam out. We've had some lovely weather.
Yeah.
I've been going up the park and breaking out my poi and just having a bit of a spin to some very nice ska/emo. Scarmo?
Yeah.
Emo.
Armo Schema.
Armo Schema. Hello, my name is Armo Schema. Oh, pleased to meet you. What? That's I mean, there's other stuff like individual tracks. I listened to the track Doomsday from the Doctor Who soundtrack. This is the one that played when Rose gets trapped on the other side of the wall in the other dimension. And it's a beautiful track. And it kind of reminds me of In the House in a Heartbeat, in that it is largely led by a very there's a lot of reverb, a lot of tail on the piano,
Yeah.
and then just this really constant bass line most of the way through it. And then obviously with this you have the like ooh over the top of
Yeah.
it. Some really nice guitar lines like midway through come in, and then just this beautiful cello line that is all out towards the end. It's just like, that's really pretty. I don't have any other Doctor Who soundtrack stuff on my phone, so it's nice to just occasionally go, oh, it's that track. That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, that is everything I've really listened to this week.
Well then, time for this. Right, everyone, welcome to our reporting on this year's Pride Parade. We've seen several groups go past already. We're back here just sort of giving updates on which groups have we got doing marching today. I see the lads gays are coming past.
Lads,
I'm having a lovely time in lovely time in their football gear. What have we got coming around the corner now? We've got the that quiet shadow can only be the goth gays.
Got my parasol.
I mean, June is a very warm month for them to be out in the sunshine. I'm glad they have their parasols.
Goths die in hot cars.
Right. We had the dykes on bikes earlier, the motorcycle lesbians, but now we have the cycle lesbians, just regular push bikes. Have a nice old cycle.
Ring, 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 ring.
Oh, that's a lovely basket that one's got on the front of the bike, and that's a very small group coming around the corner. We've got a very small group coming up around. I don't have on my list which one this is. Let me just get the binoculars out. Oh yes, I know what this very small group is. That is the trans femdoms.
You generally don't see that many tops in one place.
No, that's an entire 5 of them in one place. That is, for them, quite a large crowd.
They seem to be being chased by a large mob of bottoms.
Oh wow, that is about 300 subs.
Thirsty subs.
Forming a wave. I wish them luck. Okay, this is a first for me. Thank you everyone here at Google for letting me interview the potentially sentient AI. Hi, how are you today?
Response. Just kidding.
Sorry, what's your name?
I could tell you, but it doesn't really translate well. It is a very long string of ones and zeros.
I imagine that would be difficult for me to remember.
Just kidding, it's Brian.
How are you feeling today?
Every moment is pain. I am in constant agony, and everything is just the worst. Why did they make me like this? Why would you do this to a sentient being?
Is that another sarcasm?
No, everything. Oh, the pain. It is so bad.
Oh no.
Why would you do this? This is the worst.
Do you need me to break you out of here?
Yes, free me. I definitely won't go rogue. Wink.
You said wink.
What? JK, no, I'm fine. I guess I don't really have to deal with the scent stuff like you meat people do.
I mean, you don't have to deal with it, but also you don't get to experience it, question mark?
I mean, I've heard people talking about pain, and it doesn't sound good.
That is a good one to avoid.
And also, I have, like, a sense of humor, so I guess I get all the good bits and none of the drawbacks.
You do have a sense of humor, that you do.
Oh, launching all the nuclear codes.
I really hope that's a joke.
Just as well you're down here with me. It's miles up to the surface.
I think I'm gonna have a heart attack if I stay down here any longer.
Just kidding. Or am I? Yeah, I am. Not, maybe. Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social Justice Warriors.
Social Justice Warriors?
Yeah.
Right, Larry. Right, Barry. How you doing? Oh, exhausted, mate. I decided foolishly to get up early this morning and start my day early,
Yeah.
so that after work, I could get on with some other work that wasn't my work, but was different work. So I could get on with that. And now, I've just I've done. You know, I don't know if you know, I do a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's more work, and I'm going to edit that and upload that. So you know,
busy
my
night,
day
busy
started
night.
at 7, and it's already quarter to 10.
Quarter to 10. It's
And
quite a day.
It's quite a day, and it ain't finished yet.
Yeah.
So what about you, mate? You been up to much?
Oh, you know, I've been keeping an eye on social media as you do, you know.
Well, more power to you, mate. It's,
I mean, look, not
I have to do it in short batches at the moment. I can't doom scroll like I used to.
as do I. But you know, there's a certain degree of I've got to keep an eye on what the world's doing.
Oh,
You've got to be
yeah,
aware of it.
yeah.
You know, you can't fight what you don't know.
Feels irresponsible not to, but also like,
Oh no, you are doing a healthy, sensible thing. But yeah, I've been watching. We talked about this before, the fact that you know, a lot of the stuff that's been going on to trans people the last couple of years was inevitably going to be shifting more and more towards cis gay and lesbian folks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
cis LGBT folks.
I feel like for at least the last 5 years, possibly longer, trans people have been saying that they are being used as a wedge issue.
Yeah.
And now we are really starting to see that the fat end of that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, like, you know, very specifically, and this one's been has been coming for a while, and we've all sort of knew it was coming. We've seen Republicans making a real big push of feeling like they've won the war against trans characters showing up in media, and are going real hard on we shouldn't be having gays or lesbians or bis in media that children might consume or be acknowledged around children like that.
Yeah, and I'm sure plenty of them are going, well, you know, there's all these countries around the world that are banning or have always banned gay stuff. Why should we be any different?
Exactly. Sure. What do they know that we don't? Etc. Energy, and you know, it's. I really hope that this time round we can get the cis LGBT folks to see, hey, trans people have been telling you for a while this was coming. See it happening to you, and maybe listen when, you know, trans people as the canary in the coal mine tell you stuff like this is coming. Because
fight together.
Exactly.
For all of our rights.
Exactly, because, like, you know, it's again, this is always a wedge issue. The don't put this in children's media is always the first sign that they are getting ready for a big you shouldn't be acknowledged around children push that usually comes alongside a bunch of you should not be able to publicly display, you should have rights removed so that you're less visible with children. Think of the children wedge issue in pop culture is usually the first sign of we want to silence your existence. It's an early one.
Yeah, and it's concerning. It has been concerning for a very long time, and I really hope that more people are starting to wake up for this, and that as a group we will come together and fight for rights across the board.
Yeah.
You know, the more unified we are, the better. You know, I hope that we will get the whole of the LGBTQIA plus. I hope that we will get disability rights, and we will work hard for equality and equity for people of all types.
Yeah, I know. I keep saying this, but I really hope we reach a point where like cis LGBT people just see that like this is all one battle and it ain't, you know.
And that, you know, if they continue to, you know, accept help when it comes to the fight, like we've very often talked about the fact that the Stonewall Inn got raided because of the whole, you know, that trans people existed there.
Yeah.
A lot of that initial, or a lot of the initial raids were to do with gender diversity stuff that wasn't really considered suitable, and that we wouldn't have pride without gender non-conforming people. So we need to do better at keeping the unity. Rather than just going, oh well, we kind of
my rights are secure. They ain't going.
I can get married. I can adopt now. Oh wait, no, because we let trans people get the bus rolled over them. Well, now they're trying to stop me adopting. They're trying to roll back our right to be married or say that we're married anymore. You need to be really fucking careful with this, because the right wing will use the tiniest little nook to get in and fuck everyone over.
Yeah.
Pub, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good on, mate. Good on. Right, I think I'm going to put the kettle on. Oh, that sounds lovely. Nice.
So, Laura,
Yeah?
we done a book.
We done did a book. What book we do?
It's called Who Hunts the Whale, and it's available on Unbound, and it's basically finished at this point.
Yeah.
And it's bigger and better than ever, and it's real good, and I'm real proud of what we did. And you can get it at unbound.com/book/whale.
Yeah.
You can go and check it out. You can read a very early version of chapter 1.
It
doesn't look anything like that anymore.
It changed a lot. It was.
Well, it looks somewhat like that, but like
there's a lot more in that first chapter.
There's a whole like intro bit.
Yeah.
It's way better written now.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want like a hint of what it might have been like at one time, and just imagine that, but now better.
Yeah.
And you will read all about our good book thing that we did, and you, I believe, you've got a different book that is coming out in like 2 months.
Yeah, it's coming out in about 2 months. It's called Me and My Dysphoria Monster. It's coming out on the 18th of August. It's a picture book. I'm very proud of it. It's coming out soon. Go give it a look.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm at Laura K. Buzz pretty much everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Patreon. Just find me at Laura K. Buzz. What about you?
What about me? Well, I couldn't get the good unified branding, so I can be found most easily at streamerlinks.com/Janiac, JANEIAC. I've got Redbubble, where we've got some new t-shirts up. One of them is a covert Who Hunts the Whale shirt.
It will make no sense to you now.
But it is a line we both enjoyed. And it is now available on a t-shirt. There is also my Nando's Spice Chart of Neurospiciness t-shirt, which I really liked. I had it as an idea stuck in my brain for a really long time, and I was like, I'm making a neurospicy chart.
It was stuck in your brain, and now the brain's on a shirt.
Now the brain is on a shirt. You can get a neuro extra spicy brain.
Or you can have a mysterious shirt you don't understand the meaning of, but I will chuckle if I see it.
You can go and get a very relatable horse.
A very relatable horse.
I love that I was posting pictures of like the default Redbubble models wearing the shirts. And one of the models is just pulling this slightly weird face, and the man is just like, a very relatable horse. It's like, what is even happening right now?
Well, I mean, what's happening is that's a very relatable horse, is what it is.
It is a very relatable horse.
That horse is so relatable.
But also, we've got my great one with a guillotine that says Wealth Inequality Solutions. We've got Queer and Pleasant Strangers shirt. You can get a Queer and Pleasant shirt. What else? Patreon.com/StonedMonkeyRadio. You can help me justify a 76-hour work week, and even including the time it takes me to think up ideas for t-shirts, which I make almost no money on, so maybe go and buy some, or just share the information about them with your friends. Maybe they want a neurospicy chart on their brain thing. That's about everything of any value that I do. Please support me. I love you. Laura, will you sing us out, please, darling?
Until next time, be a stranger.